Okay, so we're going to make a box. This is the box we're making. This is a 5x7 box that you can slip your flip albums in, or your very large cards. I use this. I don't have an envelope maker or a box maker, so I'm using my scoreboard for this. It's very simple to follow, I hope. A friend of mine asked me to make this tutorial, so I'm making this for her. How we're going to do this is we're going to need a 12x12 scrap of cardstock, or 12x12 piece of cardstock in any color. This is 100-pound cardstock, so it makes the box more sturdier when putting it together. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our 12x12 and we're going to place it on our scoreboard. So we're right in the corner. And we're going to score, our first score line will be at 275. And we're going to score from there all the way to the top of the paper at 275. And then we're going to score again at 3.5. All the way to the top. And then we're going to score again at 8.5. Yeah, because this is the bottom of your box. So 8.5. And then again at 9.25. Oops. 9.25. And the rest is flap. So this, on this side, is your flaps that fold over to the center of your box. These 2 3/4 score line marks are your gusset. So now we're going to turn the paper once. So our score lines are running across the scoreboard. And we're going to score at 1 inch. Now this is the bottom of the box we're working with, so we're going to score at 1 inch. And then we're going to score again at 175. And then, so being that it's 7 inches, so we're going from 175, 7 inches up. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Had a brain fart. So 8 3/4 score line right there. And then we score again at 9.5. So we have the bottom flap, the bottom gusset, the box, the top gusset, and the flap that goes over. Couldn't have been 7. Okay. Just double checking my measurements. 7. Okay. So now we're going to take our scissors, and we have on the corner of the box center itself, as you can see, we have a small box there and there, and we have them all the way around the box. There's 4 of them, and these are your flaps that fold, the little tiny tabs that fold in on your box. So we want to make sure that those tabs fold up. So the bottom ones are going to go up this way, and the top ones are going to go down this way. So they're opposite of each other. So we take the bottom and we cut all the way to the inside score line corner, right at the juncture. I'm going to mark this. Okay. So, as you can see, oh, I marked the wrong corner. Sorry about that. It's that corner I wanted. Disregard the last mark. Okay, so here's the juncture right here. It's where the box corner meets. So we want to cut this little flap up to this score line across here. So we want to do it on this side and this side in the same direction. We're going to cut. Like so. And then we're going to cut all this excess off on the corners only. Okay, so this is what you should have on the bottom of your box. Now we're going to go up here and do the same thing at the top. We're going to cut from the top of the box to the second score line on both sides. Okay, so now we're going to remove this excess. So we're only cutting up to the flap for the second score line from this outside edge. So we cut up to here, up to the juncture of the flap, up here, like so. And then we do the same on the other side. We're going to cut all this excess off to the cut right along the inside score, or the flap, the inside score line, and then we're going to cut the excess off of this one. So this is what you should have. Your flap is running in towards the inside of the box all the way around. So they're going, the ones at the bottom are going this way, and the ones at the top are going this way. Okay, so we'll put it aside. So now we're going to trim these all down. The little flaps we trim so that they don't buckle inside the box and cause the box to ripple on the outside, like show that buckle. So because we want a smooth line. And then we're going to taper off all the bigger flaps. And that's basically so that we don't have edges on the edges of the box that get caught or look tacky or overlap, and they look, it gives it a more cleaner look. So we're going to trim those down. And how I do that is I go around and I measure. So on the 3 large flaps, I'm going to mark it at a 1/2 inch inside from the edge. So a 1/2 inch here and here, here and here and here and here. And then the bottom flap, we're going to do a 1/4 inch on the edge of the flap. And then we're going to cut. So you'll need your ruler, and we're going to go around and we're going to mark. And make sure you get your marks on the inside, because sometimes when you're cutting like this one here, it's not quite cut on the score line, so you don't want to, you want to make sure that you have a clean edge and there's no score marking on your edges when you do it. Okay, so a 1/2 inch on this side and a 1/2 inch on this side. So this is what you should have. So there's your 1/2 inch mark here, you can see that, and then the same on the other end. So we've got a 1/2 inch here. So we're going to do that all the way around. And then a 1/2 inch here. Here, and then on the small flap we're doing a 1/4 inch. So a 1/4 inch here and a 1/4 inch here. Okay, so now that we have that done, we're going to trim all the way around, and including our little flaps down here, we're going to just take a smidgen off the corners of these. So probably 1/16 of an inch, just enough so you can see daylight between the paper and this flap and this flap. So we're going to go inside and we're going to do this. And then we're going to do the same on the outside. So you have that, so you can see that little bit gap right there. All right. And now the bottom flap, we marked it at 1/4 of an inch. So we're going to cut from here down to the score line, the first score line that you see. We're going to cut. And we're going to cut it right to the corner of that, where the score line meets the edge of the paper. So we're going to cut from here down to there, just like that. Okay? So we're going to do that all the way around the box, following our score lines and our marks. And we're cutting to the first score line where it meets at the edge of the paper. So we have angles. Same on this side. So we have that kind of an angle. So we're at this flap again. I'm going to do, just taking a sliver off, both sides. And we're at the top flap. And we're going to cut to the first score line on both sides. And then a sliver. And then again the mark. And then on the other side as well. And then a sliver. Alright, now we're at the last cut. So that's what you should have. It should look like that. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to take it, and we're not going to, when you do your score lines, you have your perforated, you have your indented side, then you have a perforated side. So we want the perforated side inside the box, and we're folding up inside the box, up inside the perforated line, so in on itself, basically. So we're going to score, sorry, trough mobile. We're going to fold on the inside score line first, all the way around the box. So you have this outside score line, then you have the inside score line. So we're going to do that all the way around the box, like so. And then again on the other side. So now we're going to do the outside of the box. So we're going to score. Okay. All right. So it should have, you should have this all the way around your box, like so. Okay. So now we have our little flaps at the bottom of the box. We're going to do these. We're going to do these first. Should I leave them till last? I'll do them first. That way you can see better. So I'm going to take my flaps, and I'm going to take some glue. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue on my flaps on both sides. So. And I'm going to take them, I'm going to fold them in and adhere them. You can do one side at a time if you like, instead of doing both like I'm doing right now. And I'm going to, I'm adhering them to the sides of the box, so, or the bottom flap, sorry. I can do it better if I can show you. So we're taking those flaps and we're adhering them to the bottom of the box. So they're glued to the bottom of the bottom flap of the box. this flap here at the bottom. It's hard to see. So many flaps. Dark black hole. Okay, so you can see the flap inside. It's sitting right on the outside flap of the box. So, or on the inside of this bottom flap. Pardon me. So we got that there. Okay, so we leave this part here till after we do these two side flaps. So these two side flaps overlap like so, and they have about 5/8 of an inch overlap on both sides. So if you wanted to make this box a little bit bigger, you could mark it so that this box is 5 1/4 inches by 7 1/4 inches. Probably better when fitting a 5 by 7 folio or large card or what have you inside. So, so we're going to adhere these two pieces together. And how I do that is I use my glue and I run a bead of glue up one side, like so. Okay. So now these are going to overlap, and being that we did the flaps on the bottom, we have a bit of a way to gauge these so that this is squared. So we want this squared, we don't want it crooked. So pretty much does it. Okay. So now I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to go place it inside, and I'm going to apply pressure to the inside all the way down so that my pieces adhere together like so. And if you have something you can stick in there that's more stable and thicker that you can apply pressure to, by all means do so. Alright, so now that we have that adhered together, we're going to take our bottom flap, this one here, and we're going to glue it to the top of the box, to the back of the box, like so. So I'm going to use glue. You can use score tape if you want. And now we're going to adhere that to there. Again, we're going to take our ruler and we're going to apply pressure, making sure that this bottom piece is flush with the bottom bridges of your box. So we want this flush with this, and the same on this side, before we make sure that it's all glued down tight, because we don't want any gaps. I want to make sure that it all adheres nicely. Okay. Alright, so now we have our box. And it overlaps on this side just a little bit, so I misgauged. It's fine on this side, but not quite on this side. But that's okay. Alright, so now we have the top. Here's your flaps at the top, and they go in, your box goes over, like so. And there it is. You have it. A box. I made a better box than this, where it flushes properly at the bottom. So, okay. And there you have it. There's your box. So that's your 5 by 7 box with a 3/4 inch gusset.